National Capital District, Lisa Marie Riggins.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you all for coming out tonight. It's very apropos that today is the Marine Corps birthday. Come on, we got more oorahs in here than that. And tomorrow is Veterans Day, so it's really great that all of you bourbon aficionados have come out to not only do what you like to do, but you're doing this to help support the USO. And the USO has been around for 81 years, and our mission statement is bringing home, family, and country to our service members from the time they enlist to the time they transition out. So thank you for being here for tonight, and we would not be able to do this without longtime USO board member Kurt Colson, who has taken his passion for bourbon and his exquisite collection and turned it into a fundraiser to raise money for our troops. Kurt Colson, thank you very much. And while Kurt can bring the stash and bring the fun, we need a venue and we need food. And when we were looking for that, another board member, Mike Carney, who's Executive Vice President of Business Operations for the Washington Nationals, said, hey, we've got a Champions Club. So thank you, Nationals, for allowing us to come here and do this in your home tonight. And then, of course, Events DC has become a new friend of ours as we're trying to get the Army-Navy game here in 2024. And they said to us, whatever you need in the city, cool, interesting, to help support those troops, give us a call. And they did. So thank you, Events DC. And last, the star of the evening, the celebrity. My favorite story about Fred Minnick, we met 3 years ago, was his story about coming back from Iraq and feeling very disillusioned and confused. And as he was walking through the airport, he found a USO lounge. And he went into that lounge, and he said one of the best moments of his return was seeing that beanbag in the corner where he could sit and be with people who spoke his language or understood his silence. So it is a great honor and pleasure to bring to the stage, well, actually, to let Fred Minnick be introduced by a bigger voice than me, the voice of God.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen him on Bravo's Top Chef, Moonshiners, The Today Show, ESPN, and at random bars all across the country. Please welcome bourbon icon Fred Minnick and his vodka-hating ascot.
Thank you all so much for coming. Lisa Marie, thank you for the kind words. By the way, her husband, you might know him, NFL Hall of Famer, Riggo. John Riggins is in the house tonight. When I shook his hand, my eyeballs were, the glistening of those rings. My goodness. My goodness. Beautiful rings. But it's so great to be here tonight on the Marine Corps birthday, right? How many Marines we got in the house? Right on. We got a special treat for you coming up. But I do kind of want to. You'll see some empty seats around here. We had a lot of cancellations from people whose travel was impacted by the hurricanes. So, right now we've got men and women who are getting themselves, whether it's Coast Guard or the National Guard or the Army or the Marine Corps or the Navy. So many people are getting ready to help those who are in need in Florida, as they did with Hurricane Ian, and as they have done with all the hurricanes before. So keep those folks in your thoughts and prayers, and know that the mission of the USO is to help those who are serving our incredible country. And tonight is all about the USO. Tonight's proceeds go to the USO. The upcoming auction goes to the USO. This was donated by the Nationals, by my team, by Kurt, by everyone who's a part of this has donated their time because we are all so passionate about the USO. And Lisa mentioned one of those stories for me personally. And I'll talk more about my time in Iraq and how I got to where I am here in a bit. But when I came home, it was so weird for me to see people with hair, to see people just going about their daily lives like mortars or rockets aren't about to hit, And anyone who's been, in a combat zone, you know what I'm talking about. It's really weird coming home. And sometimes it can be very, very difficult. And the USO was there for me in an airport, and that I could sit in that beanbag, and I felt safe. I'm not safe from like mortars or anything like that, but the civilian world felt very weird to me. And the fact that the USO stands up and helps people who are like me right now is why I love giving back to them. But of course, tomorrow is Veterans Day. How many veterans do we have in the house? Hell yeah, thank you for your service. Any Army? Who's Army? Okay. Who's Navy? All right, Air Force? Well, so that's the smart table over there, the Air Force. We heard from the Marines, but any Coast Guardsmen? Right on, the Coast Guard. Do not forget the Coast Guard. They have a hard job, a very hard job. But I have always been fascinated with the Marine Corps because they are so good, and they get like equipment from the 1970s. They never get the first, rotation of equipment, and yet they're always the first to be called up. I have nothing but respect and admiration for Marines. I served with many of them over the years, and they never questioned a single order. They always just went. And that's why when we were in like places like Fallujah and people saw the Marine Corps from the other side, they were like, oh shit. You do not mess with Marines. Marines always stick together. And for that, it is my honor tonight to bring up here a quartet, some midshipmen here. You all start coming up here. Please welcome Beth Miller, Ron Miller, Kenna Pierce, and Louis Gilroy. And I do welcome everyone to please stand up. And if you're a Marine and you don't know your birthday song, you're in trouble. But they will lead us in the Marine Corps birthday song.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines. Our flags unfurled to every breeze, from dawn to setting sun. We have fought in every clime and place where we could take a gun. In the snow of far-off northern lands and the sunny tropic scenes, you will find us always on the job, the United States Marines. Here's health to you and to our corps, which we are proud to serve. In many a strife we fought for life and never lost our nerve. If the Army and the Navy ever looked on heaven's scenes, they will find the streets are guarded by United States Marines.
How about it, huh? One of the really special moments of my military career was getting to sing that song in Iraq with my Marine Corps brothers and sisters. And again, Happy birthday, Marines. Once a Marine, always a Marine. And I admire every one of you all. And I've known a lot of Marines over the years, and one thing they do is they like to drink bourbon. So I am not surprised we have a lot of Marines in the house tonight. But tonight is not like when you were kind of hanging out at a bar. We're not here to drink, we're here to taste. So tonight is a tasting. What you will see before you, you will see that you have a blindfold. By the way, the blindfolds are for you to keep. I do not want your used blindfold. There's not much of a market for them on the secondary market for a used blindfold. But you will see you have a blindfold that's coming. That's for something coming up. You have a little smelling kit that's in a cloth item there. Try not to play with that too. I see people already cheat. You're already cheating. You don't go smelling it just yet. Wait till the blindfolds. Of course, you're Space Force, right? Both of you are Space Force, for reals. Which, my bad, I did not say thank you to the Space Force.
It's okay.
My bad. You'll see you have your tasting mat right here. You see the selections here: A, B, C, D, E, and Jack Daniels. The Jack Daniels glass right here. For those who, this glass is yours to keep if you would like. But you're going to be training on how to taste on the Jack Daniels glass, and then the next 5, you are going to, after your tasting tutorial, you are going to basically be a certified American Spirits Council of Taster judge, right here. So you're going to be an actual judge in a spirits competition, and you're all going to taste. And you're going to vote. In the upper right-hand corner, you will see that you have a QR code. You will scan that, and when the time is here for you to vote, you will vote on what your favorite is. And you will see the results as they are coming in. It's kind of cool. And I will tell you, the bourbons that we have in here, the majority are allocated, hard to come by, and pretty expensive. So you're going to be tasting things that are not your run-of-the-mill products, well, other than Jack Daniels. And I know someone in this room is going to vote for Jack Daniels. It always happens. It always happens. So what we're going to do is we'll go through this tasting, and please feel free to take pictures, put it on social media, tag us, and make sure you're drinking water too as you're having. As a matter of fact, I don't have any water up here, so if anyone is so kind to give me a bottle of water. But you want to stay hydrated while you're going, so make sure you're drinking water. But before you get into a tasting, I think it's always important to appreciate what you are tasting. It helps you appreciate what you're tasting if you know a little bit of the history. I'm of the belief that we should be having good times when we taste bourbon. You know, right now we're in a time where a lot of people are trying to, tell you that you shouldn't drink bourbon, or you shouldn't do, drink Armagnac, or some of the finer things in life. And no, you should not be drinking an entire bottle, but tasting it in moderation is very, very different than chugging the whole damn bottle. It's a very different experience. So today is about creating an experience through taste that you'll never forget, versus a lot of people in life drink to forget. So always remember that. And it starts with understanding a little bit about what you're about to taste. So bourbon is a unique product of the United States that was established right here in Washington, D.C. in 1964 by the United States Congress. They declared bourbon to be a unique product of the United States, which means bourbon cannot be made anywhere else in the world. So this is truly an American spirit. And our country's government has cared so much about bourbon over the years that they have issued many, many laws. Thomas Jefferson basically pursued the Louisiana Purchase to help distilleries, among other businesses, grow. And when he got the Louisiana Purchase enacted, it helped bourbon distillers go from Kentucky to New Orleans, and everybody in New Orleans, well, They like to drink in New Orleans. And they were drinking a lot of bourbon back in the 1800s. And then you come up to a time frame when Grover Cleveland's not a president who gets a lot of mentions in the history books, but in 1897, he passed a Bottle and Bond Act, which you will still see on bottles today. President Taft, you know the president that's known for getting stuck in a bathtub? Everyone know about that president? He actually gave bourbon its very first federal definition, the very first federal definition, which essentially means that it has to be predominantly corn, and there's a lot of distillation techniques to it, and then it has to go into a new charred oak barrel. So President Taft, who got stuck in the bathtub, is in the Bourbon Hall of Fame, only president in the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame, because he gave bourbon its first federal definition. And then, you know, after Prohibition, there were all sorts of laws that kind of went back and forth, but the big one that had a big impact on bourbon was that 1964 Declaration from Congress. And that happened because JFK was trying to bolster exports of American goods. So if it wasn't for JFK, bourbon does not become a unique product of the United States. So why does the government care so much about bourbon, you might ask? Because they can tax it. In fact, 60% of every bottle of bourbon that you buy that's made in Kentucky goes to taxes. And a lot of that is earmarked for the roads and schools of Kentucky. So when you drink Kentucky bourbon, you're helping the children of Kentucky. So how many collectors do we have in the house here? How many people are buying bourbon and hanging on to it a little bit? Okay. You all are probably told you have problems from time to time, right? You're buying too much bourbon, your bank account's getting dried up, right? You're laughing back here. Does that sound familiar? Yeah. Well, next time someone gives you the business, you just look them straight in the eye and say, you're helping the children of Kentucky. True story. All right, so we are now going to do a quick training tutorial on Jack Daniels. And then after this tasting, I'm going to bring two volunteers on the stage. One is a celebrity volunteer who's patiently waiting back there in room 22. And the other one is going to be a volunteer from the audience whom I'll ask to bring their blindfold up as well. But before we do that, and because I know half of you are looking at me as like, when's this guy going to shut up and we can drink some bourbon? I want to take you through a little tasting tutorial with Jack Daniels. So everyone grab that glass, lower left-hand corner. It says Jack Daniels on it. It's not the other one. It's the one in the actual glass, not the plastic. So raise that up into the light. Go to one of those little circular spots there. When that went into the barrel, it was clear as the water from your tap. And every single day it was in that wood. It was moving in and out of that wood, extracting all of that color, extracting the flavor, extracting the aroma. So just enjoy that. Looking at the color is a lot like looking at an album cover. An album cover is an indication of the music you're about to listen to. The color of bourbon is an indication of what you are about to enjoy. So swirl that around, look at it. You can see it's got a nice straw color, little kind of hue there on the edge. Swirl it around, bring it to your nose. When you smell bourbon, you want to smell with your mouth slightly open. So slightly open like this. What you're doing here is you're actually relaxing your olfactory. If you smell with your mouth closed, your nose can be overwhelmed by the alcohol. So your mouth being open helps it kind of cycle through. And then you want to go side by side. Isolate your nostrils. By isolating your nostrils, you'll notice that you pick up some flavors on one side and other flavors on the other. Like for me, I get sweet on the right, I get spicy on the left. Now, for a lot of people I do like very beginning tasting training with, it's often foreign to them to smell their alcohol. They usually just put it in a red Solo cup and go, boom, let's go. It's important to smell your alcohol, especially right now. You have people all over the world dying from fake alcohol. Dominican Republic, throughout South America, Africa, even in the United Kingdom, people have died from fake alcohol. I'm on a show called Moonshiners. Anyone ever see that show? It's a cool show. After I'm on that show, people will just randomly bring up jugs of moonshine and put it on my doorstep. How they get my address, I do not know, but it always shows up after I'm on an episode. And I'll smell it and be like, well, yeah, that smells like turpentine. I ain't drinking that. And so I'll pour it out, and the next day my grass is dead. So you got to be very careful. And when you smell alcohol, you can actually save your life, especially when you are traveling. So always smell your alcohol. Of course, nothing we have here is going to be like that. So you smell it first, make sure it's not bad for you, or it's going to be bad. And so the next thing you want to do is you want to focus on the aroma properties. Like, what are some of the aromas there? Anybody want to shout something out here before I jump in? Anyone want to give us some aromas they pick up? Banana? Caramel? Vanilla? All good call-outs. Now the next part is the tasting, and this is the part where when I came home, this is the part where I can sometimes get a little choked up thinking about it, talking about it, especially like today going into Veterans Day. Well, when I came home from Iraq, I was like a lot of soldiers. I struggled to reintegrate myself into society. I was either going to jump off a bridge, I was going to end up in jail, or homeless. That's the kind of trajectory I was going down. And I got into the Louisville VA, and I'm very proud to say that the Louisville VA did save my life. The VA system does work, and they did save my life. And in that process, they taught me a technique called taste mindfulness. And I'm in the middle of this VA. Anyone who's ever been in the VA, you know what these rooms are like. They're very stale. There's like a metal chair. It's like a linoleum floor. There's a loud air conditioner going in the back. And she pulls out a bag of potato chips, and she says, I want you to think about eating this potato chip. I'm like, I'm in therapy about to eat a bag of potato chips. It was weird. And she said, focus on the tongue and how the potato chip separates on your tongue, how the sugars separate from the salts, and how the crunch feels. And I closed my eyes, and I did that, and it completely changed how I tasted for the rest of my life. That happened, almost 15 years ago now. And during that time, I was a freelance writer in the wine and spirit space, which, I'm still in that world. I don't write as much anymore, but back then I was hustling as a freelancer. And I was training with a lot of master sommeliers and a lot of master distillers. And I took that technique with what I learned from them, and this is what I'm about to teach you. When you put a little bit of whiskey on your tongue, the way we feel whiskey on our tongue is different than how you will feel other foods. A lot of other foods, you can't really discern a lot of times what part of the tongue is it hitting. But when you feel whiskey on your tongue, you feel it on the tip of your tongue, that's usually where we get our sweet notes. If you feel it on the middle, that's usually where we get our savory notes. If you feel it in the middle back, that's usually where we get our bitter notes. In the back, that's where we get our spice notes. So what I want you to do here, in the first taste, just put a little bit on your tongue. It's not a fraternity party. We're not shooting it back. I'm looking at you, Marine Corps. I know what you all are like in the barracks. Usually drink it straight from the bottle, though, right? Usually, yeah. So put a little bit on your tongue, and then focus on what part of the tongue is it hitting. Here we go. Who feels it on the tip of the tongue? Who feels it on the middle? Who feels it in the middle back? Little line there. In the back. All right, so what you all did here, you all just saw like how we all taste differently, how we all feel things differently on our tongue. We all just tasted Jack Daniels, an everyday product in the store And you can see how the room reacted differently in terms of how it felt on the tongue, where it was. Now the next step, I want you to go back in and taste it, and I want you to think about that part of the tongue and try to. Did you already drink all yours? You did? Well, I mean, I'm sure we can hook you up, but do we have to worry about him, Lisa? All right, okay. He drank yours too? Oh, okay. So put that now. When you put it on the tongue the next time, focus on that part of the tongue where you felt it most resonate. Now, you will, if you follow me, you will often see me come out with a note or two. It's like marzipan or my grandpa's cornbread or something like that. That's because I think about what I'm tasting all the time. And when you think about the part of the tongue it's hitting, you can connect your palate to your brain, and you can trigger a memory of your childhood. You can trigger a memory of just like a good time you've had, because your memories of taste are stored right next to the memories of experience. So let's taste again and see if you can come out with a note of Jack Daniels. And I like tasting with Jack Daniels because it's something we all see all the time. We've all had it, but not many of us very often taste it. It's usually, your last option. So like, oh, well, fine, I'll have a Jack and Coke. So, anybody have a note they want to call out?
Dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate? Hey, what's up, Dee? Good to see you. She is an actual judge on the Ascots. So she's got one of the best palates in the country. So, dark chocolate. Did you feel that in the kind of like the bitterness area, kind of?
That actually went right in the middle.
Yeah?
I got white pepper.
Okay. Anybody else got a note they want to call out? Clove? Clove? What'd you say? Peanuts. Like peanut butter or like roasted? Peanut butter, okay. And the last part of a 4-point tasting is the finish. How long is it still on the tongue after you've tasted it? Who can still feel the Jack Daniels on their palate? I mean, folks, that's a long finish. We're talking about a long finish on basically Jack Daniels. That's amazing. When you think, if you sit down and you really taste the things, you'll notice how much better they often are. Now, the next portion of the show here, we are going to get into the blindfold portion, and I'm going to ask for a couple volunteers. I got a couple chairs here. Those will get brought up on stage, but now I'm going to ask for my volunteers, and I'm going to ask for my special volunteer who came here all the way from Antarctica. We've got Jizmac from Gore. So if you're familiar with heavy metal,
is this on yet? Oh, there we are. Good. Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
how are you doing? You doing all right?
Man, it was a long flight in, let me tell you.
So
Antarctica, it's real tough.
How's Antarctica these days?
The penguin booting season is over finally, so I was able to get away for this event.
Okay. Well, now you all have a whiskey out. You've got a whiskey out with Catoctin Creek. How's that going?
According to you, it's going great because now no one can find it. As soon as Fred talks about whatever whiskey there is, I'm like, it's all sold out. So, really great collaboration. Scott and Becky, they're awesome. And Catoctin Creek, I think it's, a 93.5 rating. I think it tastes like a backyard barbecue. So it's not your grandfather's rye. It's really nice.
All right. So you're going to be wearing a blindfold here. Now you can't wear your normal blindfold. So
you have one of those like magician
So
scarves?
we did something special for you. We tied 2 napkins together.
No ascot? I thought it'd be an ascot.
Well, the last time I put an ascot on you, it got weird. So, well, I thought we'd change that out. We will need another volunteer. Would anybody like to sit next to Gore?
Free smells. It's
All
like
right,
Jimmy John's.
I think
Free
you had your
smells.
hand up all the way back here first. You do kind of smell right now.
Man, it was a long tour.
Oh, go ahead.
I
Please
think-
bring your blindfold as well.
Wait a minute, where's John Riggins? I heard John Riggins is here. Why don't he come up here and do some tasting with me? Let's do this.
We
Come
can't,
on.
we can't
the
do
man.
that to the great one. Come on.
I'm
Aaron.
calling him out. He's my hero. What are you talking about?
Oh, it's happening.
We all went to art school in Richmond, Virginia at VCU, and of course,
All right, now I need
this
3
is what we were
chairs.
doing.
All right, go ahead and sit down. We're going to get another chair for you, Jizmac. This is, we did not see this one coming. So, Jizmac, do you want to try and tie this one on?
Maybe I could get my lovely assistant to come up
Okay,
here.
I can try it. You wanna-
I think
You
she
know?
should come up
She's
here.
doing better?
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
my
okay.
wrangler, my handler. She points me in the direction so I don't break
So
stuff.
last
when I
time
walk
you
through
didn't tell me
rooms.
about the person who had the who got the skull
Oh,
there.
this
There
is
you go.
Hitler.
That's-
Yeah, that's Hitler right there. He's on my spike.
Well, thank you for coming up here, John. I was not
Something
expecting
on?
this.
Me neither.
You
I
got
don't
you
know.
got kind of roped into this.
In for a penny, in for a pound.
In for a penny, in for a pound.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you, Mr. Riggins, for indulging me.
And welcome to the stage. What's your name?
Chrissy,
Chrissy.
thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I hope I hope you're comfortable sitting next to Jizmac there. He can get a little weird with this.
Thank you. That's a lovely Nicole. Thank you.
All right. Do you drink a lot of bourbon, or you drink bourbon often?
Yeah, I drink bourbon often. I indulge in many spirits.
Okay. All right, now Ringo, do you wear a lot of blindfolds? Because you're gonna have to wear a blindfold here in a minute.
Actually, I wear one every night when I go to sleep. So when the
Okay.
sun comes up in the morning, I'm still asleep. I'm used to this. In fact, mine's wearing out, so I've got something to take home with me.
There you go. Yeah, like I said, the blindfolds are you also. Go, everyone up here, please go ahead and blindfold up. Now, the reason why we do this, we wear blindfolds to understand our senses better. A lot of people cannot smell an item unless they can see it. And you're about to see that right here, right now. It is, when you take your senses away, it will impact you. Unless they're impaired and your body compensates for it, if you can't see it, you often cannot smell it like you think you can. So,
This isn't the part where you take all the wallets and purses while we're all blindfolded? I thought this was a different show. Sorry.
So I want to show, I gotta get the box back here, Jizmac. It's up right behind you.
I'm not falling for that again, Fred.
All right. Everybody know what this is? Yes. Everybody thinks they know what this smells like? Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Rigo. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, I want to put the item an inch underneath your nose. It's underneath your nose right now. Okay, I pulled it away. You have a guess? Actually, hold your. You can smell it? Okay, I want to go to. I already forgot your name. What's your name again?
Chrissy.
Chrissy. All right, so Chrissy, I have the item right underneath your nose. Do you smell it?
Faintly.
Okay, I pulled it away. You want to take a guess?
Is it some kind of like wood?
Is it like a wood?
Yikes.
All right, we're gonna go to Jizmac
Don't
now.
make me look bad, Fred.
Well, that's easy to do actually. So, all right. I want to try and come in underneath your teeth. All right. All right, I'm pulling away.
I don't know. It smells maybe like a car seat.
Smells like a
Small
car seat.
child has been in. I don't know.
Okay. Is this a car seat? I mean, this would be a weird car seat. All right, now, so everyone think you see this right here, right now, and in your mind you know exactly what it smells like. But if you take your sight away, the majority of us cannot actually smell it. However, when you alter the item just a little bit with a blindfold, sometimes you can smell it. Hold on. All right, hold your thoughts of what it is until I ask the crew. Okay, so John, I'm coming into you right now. Just underneath there. Hold your thoughts until I go through the whole crew. Did you get a whiff? Okay. Chrissy, I'm coming to you right underneath your nose there. Hold your thoughts until everyone's got it. All right, Jizmac, it's your turn.
Oh yeah, no, I got this.
Okay.
I got it.
So when we alter it, can we smell it now? Bring the microphones to your lips. On the count of three, tell me what you smell. 1, 2, 3.
Bananas?
What she said. Yeah, bananas. Yeah, that was bananas. Yep.
John, did you smell banana?
No, I did not.
What did you smell?
Like fumes.
Fumes.
I think it's still the Jack Daniels
I mean, you-
working on it.
I mean, you are downwind from Jizmac, so.
That's got it. There you go.
It's a problem. I'm just gonna smell rubber, whatever you put in front of me.
All right, so Chrissy won that one, right? She got the award for how about that?
But Chrissy,
This is one of my favorite things. One of my favorite things to bring to people's noses because we all have a familiarity with this of a certain point of our life. At least I did. All right, I'm coming to you, Jizmac. This could get weird. Coming in.
one more again. One more time.
Yeah, and hold your thought as to what it is. Okay?
Ah, it's on the tip of my tongue.
All right, coming to Chrissy now. About an inch underneath your nose. Okay. Now coming into the great NFL Hall of Famer right here, John Riggins. Here we are. Smelling, going back and forth here. Okay.
I smell it.
Okay, on the count of three, tell me what you smell, or do you need another smell?
Can I get one more?
One more smell?
I'm with her. Whatever she says.
There you go. I'm underneath your nose.
Okay.
All right.
Let me smell one more time.
One more time.
Whatever happens, folks, she's gonna win.
You want one more smell there?
Tough.
All right, on the count of three, tell us what you smell. 1, 2, 3.
Licorice?
Cookies.
I can at least smell it, so. No more fumes, I'm getting better, but I can't tell you what it is.
Well, let's just say that was a draw. Go ahead and take your blindfolds off. How about it for our crew up here? Huh? You were smelling Kellogg's Frosted Flakes.
See, I thought it was the
I
cookie
would never
cereal.
associated that odor with Frosted Flakes.
Yeah.
Tony the Tiger, right?
Tony the Tiger right
That's
there. Yeah.
Look at it.
Well,
I
since
want it.
we
It's my gang colors.
How about it for our smellers up here, folks? And since we did have someone up here who did guess correctly, everyone, I mean, you all gave it the good old college try. Cookies was kind of close, but Chrissy, congratulations. She gets to take home an Ascot Award trophy. So thank you all for coming up. go ahead and head on back down. You're welcome to, anybody want to keep the banana or the,
I feel like I missed out on the tasting. You like made me wait.
well, I'd say borrow this guy's, but he already drank it all. All right, so now it's your turn to wear the blindfold. You will see your blindfold right there. Everybody put your blindfolds on. John, you don't have to. You can take a break here if you need to. You can drink your buddy's bourbon while he's smelling. All right. What you have before you in the cloth is actually something that you probably are a little bit familiar with, but the way in which it was created may be a little different. So take that cloth, that piece of cloth there. Don't take the item out of it. You already took the item out of it, didn't you? All right. Bring it to your nose, about an inch underneath your nose, and smell it. Try not to put too much focus on the feel of it. I see some of you playing around with it with your fingers. That is a piece of scent that can impact your smell a little bit. But go ahead and bring that to your nose. Anybody have a guess of what this is? Who said it smelled like barbecue? We have some people saying it's smoky.
Cough syrup.
Who said wood chips? We got a call out for wood chips. We got a few call outs for wood chips. Beef jerky. All right, everyone, go ahead and take your eye mask off and pull out the item in the cloth, and you can see what it is. It is a smoked piece of orange from CR Citrus, who's in the house today? Who's in the house right now? Got CR Citrus right here, folks. How about it for CR Citrus? So he develops these for craft cocktail bars around the country, and I love putting them in these smelling kits because a lot of people always think they're barbecue or wood chips or beef jerky, and it just shows you if you cannot see the item, you can actually not necessarily smell it, or you will smell the most popular fragrance to it. So that concludes our sensory training. Now it is time to taste. Who's ready to get into this taste off, huh? All right, now again, you all are certified tasters for in an exhibition style tasting. And we are going to start with glass A in the upper left-hand corner. And these are, I have no idea what the order of these are. But remember your training. Try to keep a little bit in your glass, sir. Thank you. Yeah. Try to keep a little bit in your glass, everybody, for in the event that you need to do a taste off. So bring it to your nose. Anybody got a note they want to call out? Hibiscus? Citrus? Cherry? Milk chocolate? I'm getting some gingerbread cookie coming on right out of that oven. Frosted Flakes. All right, now put it on your palate. Focus on what part of the tongue is it hitting. Just remember, this is not a fraternity party, ma'am. You don't got to drink the whole thing. It's okay. You all right? We do have water there. If it comes in too hot for you, make sure you drink some water. Stay hydrated. Now, to the point of water, a lot of people will ask at this stage, do you add water in this? You know, remember, this is kind of like a professional tasting here. So in a competition, you will not add water unless it's like in a runoff scenario. So we will not be adding water to these. But if you're having a hard time, it's not feeling right on you, by all means, add water. But just a little bit, don't add a lot. But for the competition purposes, please don't add water yet. Okay, so what part of the tongue did you feel it? Who felt it on the tip of the tongue? Okay, who felt it on the middle? Oh, wow. That like overtook the house there. Middle back. And the back. Okay. So now let's taste it again. And let's focus on that part of the tongue that we felt it most prominently. I'm with the middle of the tongue group. Really powerful there. And it has this beautiful vanilla wafer note for me. Kind of savory but sweet at the same time, with like a little bit of like banana pudding. Beautiful note. Anybody have a note that they want to call out here? Chocolate? What'd you say? You can't take your eye masks off. It's okay. Oh, well, you all were using that as a part of the tasting. Okay. Well, I didn't know if you didn't get the memo, but we could have taken them off. It's all good. All right. So, anybody got a note over here? Biff? Little cinnamon action in the spice region. Okay. What about my Thrasher rum maker over here? What you picking up? Little pepper action? By the way, rum distiller over here, go check him out, called Thrasher, which I see Thrasher and I just think of Metallica. I go, all right, sorry, I'm a heavy metal fan. I mean, I bring gore to my shows. What am I saying? Anybody else taste anything? Anyone want to get? Oh, go ahead. Some aspen or cypress? Oh, wow. Yeah, it's like a very unique smoky note. Okay, who can still feel it on the tongue? Who can still feel that finish? That's powerful. Remember that as you're going in. Now, part of tasting is you are not just like figuring out, do I like this product? Is this good? You are actually comparing it to the next one. And so it's kind of like, a coach has got to create a roster, right? They got to make a decision on a running back or a center or whatever. You have to make a decision on which one you like better. And that's what tonight is about. Your vote is for one. It's not for two, it's for one. So as you are tasting the next ones, keep glasses A and the next ones that come in your mind of like, do I like that last one better? And then we'll go back and revisit those. So make sure you cleanse your palate. You should have some water there. If you don't have some water, you want to cleanse your palate. There are some more thorough ways to cleanse your palate, like raw almonds will be very effective. Soda water. Also, if you have problems with your nose, like you can't find yourself continuing to pick things up, you can smell your elbow. That'll reset your nose. Unless you're near Jizmac, I would recommend walking away from wherever he is sipping. And if you're by someone that smells, move to the other side to smell your elbow. But that will help you reset. That will reset your nose. Coffee beans will also reset your nose, but your elbow should work. All right, so let's go to glass B. We have a few other dignitaries in the house I wanted to mention. We got Tracy Franklin over here. She is a long-time ambassador in the spirits world, now with Uncle Nearest, and she is an iconic person in the cocktail community, and I was nothing but filled with joy when I saw her walk in. So thank you for coming, Tracy. All right, so glass B, here we go. Remember your training. Analyze that color, swirl it around, bring it to your nose. Oh, that's a little bit different there than glass A. I better watch the edge here, I'm about to fall off. Okay, so right off the bat, we can all tell that this one, well, it smells differently. Am I right? Okay, anybody got a flavor on the nose or an aroma on the nose they want to call out?
Butterscotch.
Caramel, butterscotch,
Maple syrup.
pecan, maple, popcorn, strawberries, Cracker Jacks. Feel like I'm doing an auctioneer here, right here. Give me 500. Which, by the way, we do have an auction coming up here in a bit. You want to make sure you take a look at those items coming on up. All right, bring it to your palate. Focus on what part of the tongue is it hitting.
There happens to be 23.
Who felt it on the tip? Who felt it on the middle? Middle back? Back? Who can feel it in their throat? Yeah. Yeah, we have taste receptors in our throat all the way down to our belly. And sometimes a product like this you can still feel on the way down. But rest assured, that's just the whiskey hugging you. So, all right, now taste it again and try to really think about the flavor that is popping on it. Here we go. I will say that this feels a little perplexing to me because I want to keep tasting it and thinking about it. And I pulled what our friend did over here and I drank the whole glass already. So I might be in trouble. Maybe, but then they'd have to reveal what the bottle was because they had to break it down. Okay, who's got a flavor they want to call out in this? Red bell pepper. Flowers? Okay. Licorice? Praline. Like a New Orleans praline. I like that. Anybody got a note they want to call it? Pear? Pumpkin? Butterscotch?
So your hotel's ready. 5 minutes.
Lemon thyme? I'm coming to you because so anybody here got tinnitus? Yeah, I got bad hearing. What was that flavor? Oh, clementine. Kind of like an orange, but not an orange. I always get fooled by that in the grocery store. Thank you. Actually, I might just come to you all from now on. Yeah, I want to do that from now on. I kind of get bored up here. Okay, who can still feel it on the tongue? A little bit, all right. Who likes glass B over glass A? All right, so it looks like glass A is still carrying the house. Okay, so think about that as you're tasting. It's a process of elimination. It's a process of elimination, finding out what you like, what you don't like, what feels most powerful on your palate. As we rinse, who still feels it on the tongue? Is it still? It's still there. Wow, still there. All right, rinse your palate out.
Or in between, if we're not, I would love to.
All right, we're going to Glass C now. Well, hello, Glass C. What's going on?
And it's really just like they're all going to be up there in the room, so we can
Did anyone just catch me smelling my microphone like it was the glass? Yeah. First time that's happened. It's like, oh, that kind of smells like metal. All right, I'm going to come out here to the crowd. My man here is really into this glass. What are you smelling? Allspice? Okay. All right, I'm going to my citrus man here. What are you smelling?
Milk chocolate.
Little milk chocolate. Okay. Yeah, I got a Delta Chi fraternity brother over here. What are you smelling?
Citrus.
Little citrus action. Anybody got anything they want to call out? What they're smelling on here? Driving school. I mean, what kind of school did you go to where you smelled bourbon in the passenger seat? Fair? Okay, let's put it on the palate now. Remember, focus on what part of the tongue is it hitting. All right, who can feel that on the tip? Who can feel that on the middle? Middle back? Back back? Anybody feel this on the sides of the tongue a little bit? I mean, it's got some bitterness really good on the sides of the tongue. All right, let's taste it again. Focus on that part of the tongue it's hitting. And I'm going to come to you and ask you what you're tasting. Here we go.
That's so like a long, 2-3 minutes. That in talking.
My man's taking notes over here. I feel like you got it going on. What are you tasting?
Spice.
A little spice and some tea bag. Great notes, by the way. Great notes. How about you, sir? What are you tasting? A little vanilla action. All right. Cherries in the back. I hear you. How about you? What you getting there, sir? Don't ask you. Yes, sir. I'm moving on. How about you? What you keep picking up?
I don't know. It just tastes good to me.
Okay. Do you like? Is that your favorite so far? A's your favorite. Okay. He's already campaigning. All right. What are you picking up and see? Oh, a little peppery spice. See how different we are? We're all different. Everyone's palate is different. And that's why you should never, ever make a buying decision of what you like, a buying decision based on what someone else likes. You should always taste for yourself. We're all different when it comes to our palates. Our palates are basically like our athletic abilities. If you know, some people can run a 6-minute mile or, you know, a 4.240, and some people are like me and be happy if they finish at a 12.440. So, you know, we're all different in terms of our abilities when it comes to tasting and smelling. It's also genetic. So, if your parents were good tasters and smellers, you probably are too. Okay, so who can still taste Glass C on their palate? Who can still feel it? Handful. Okay. All right, we're getting down to that home stretch. Who likes Glass A the most? Glass A looks like to be the leader in the clubhouse. Glass B, anyone? Okay, Glass B got some action. Anyone for Glass C? Okay, our quartet back there seems to really like Glass C. All right. Now you have to write a song about it, come on the stage and sing about it. You love it so much. No? That'd be cool though if we did that. Let's go to Glass D. Don't forget to rinse your palate out. Uh-oh. Those who liked A might just found some competition. Anybody got a flavor they're picking up on the aroma they want to call out? Green apple? Okay. Sprite? Gotta admit, I don't smell a lot of Sprite. That's a good call out. For those who drink Sprite, you know. What's that? Little leather? Yeah, leather is one of those notes that tends to come with age. So if you smell leather in a whiskey, that tends to mean they're a little older. Okay, so bring it to your palate now.
Now, kind of working with in that
What part of the tongue are you picking it up on? Who feels it on the tip? Middle? Middle back? Back? Okay. All right, let's taste it again. And let's call out a flavor. I'm going to go to our note taker and troublemaker over here. All right, you wrote here great and circled smooth. Is your favorite so far? Okay, cheers to that. Cheers there. Yep, there you go. Kurt? Hey, again, everybody, how about it for Kurt, huh? Kurt is an Air Force vet, and then went on to work at Microsoft. The Air Force always got the smart ones, and you really have done so much for the USO, and tonight we've been working on this for a while, but before COVID, man, we had a good thing going too.
I chased some cherry on that one.
A little cherry action? Okay. Anybody got a note they want to call out? Cranberry? Great band from the 90s. Cranberries? All right. Who can still feel D on the palate? Awesome. That lingering finish is powerful. And as we go to the last one, let's rinse our mouths out. And let's go to glass E. Remember your training.
I want to build a big, so I'm more of a creator. I'd rather hire the right people.
Anybody got a note they want to call out on the aroma?
I prefer to hire the right people.
Cereal grain. Yeah. Brown sugar.
I need some more.
It's almost like a cereal, like a kid's cereal. Like something we would have had on stage earlier. A little caramel. By the way, who says caramel? Who says caramel? Who says caramel? Who says caramel? Where are you from if you say caramel? All right. Where are you from if you say caramel? California? Okay. It's always one of those words I've always wondered where people are from when they say it a different way. Pecan, very similar. All right, so now let's put it on the tongue again and focus on. Wait, did we already name the part of the tongue already? Did I do that? No. All right, put it on the tongue. Focus on what part of the tongue is it hitting. Who feels it on the tip? Middle? Middle back? Back? Okay. Let's taste it again and try to focus on that part of the tongue. And let's call out a note that you might be picking up. And I'm going to come all the way over here to the back because been neglecting you all over here. So let's taste again and focus on that part of the tongue.
No, just something good. No, we're cool.
All right, what are you picking up?
They know we're here. I've signed you for
No pressure.
everything that's here. So they know we're here.
A little bit of oatmeal.
A little oatmeal, staying into the morning cereal line. How's my champion taster over here doing? You doing all right?
Chamomile tea.
I drink chamomile tea to go to bed. That's a good call out. What are you picking up? You're licking an envelope. It's like licking an envelope? So you don't like it. Not going to win. It looks like you've taken care of the rest, though. You got a favorite so far? D's your favorite? Okay. All right, how about over here? Anybody got a note they want to call out? What do you think? All right, so this table's in unison here. A little cinnamon, a little caramel. All right, who can still feel it on the tongue? Most of us still feels it on the tongue. Okay. Is this anyone's favorite now? Raise your hand if this is your favorite. Okay. It put a dent in it, but I don't think that's going to be enough for this one to win. Now is the hard part, right? Now is the hard part where you have to go back through. Let's all go back through. Who has whiskey left, or does everybody have whiskey left?
Yes.
Who drank it all already? It's okay. Go back through, taste again, and on your own, do your voting. In the upper right-hand corner, that is where we vote. The upper right-hand corner is where you vote. And you will be able to see the live results of the voting, right? We got that queued in? We got the live results to be queued in? No? If we don't have the live results to be queued in, I just need someone to go grab my phone in the back. So vote in the upper right-hand corner, click that, and while we are doing that, Eric's going to take a microphone and follow whoever raises their hand. If anyone has a question, please feel free to ask a question, and I'll answer it as these votes are coming in. Please. Anybody have a question for me as these votes are coming in? All right, we got a vote. We got a question right over here. He's coming with the microphone.
What was your influence between picking each of these whiskeys tonight?
What was my what? How did I choose?
Yeah.
I always choose. I always like to have Jack Daniels because nobody ever tastes it, and when you take out and no one will have a bias with Jack Daniels. It's just man. So your bias would just be kind of like it's not my jam or whatever. But I chose. There's something here that has a local tie, so I always try to get something that's local. I always try to get something that's pretty uber allocated. I always like to try to get something that is a bit of an everyday bourbon, but still you gotta maybe go to a couple places to get it. And then I like to be weird and throw something else in there that's unique. So we had one. Didn't quite go down the weird route for most of you all, but for me, it was like, whoa. It was tasting very good to me tonight. By the way, everything tasted good to me tonight. I hope everyone here enjoyed what they tasted. Did anyone have one in here that just repulsed them? I know about Envelope Man in the back over here. But anyone else have a bourbon that just they really, really didn't care for? B? B, okay. So just a couple? Not a lot. But generally you like 4 out of 5 or 3 out of 5. All right, next question.
Who has been your favorite person to share a bourbon with?
because you have your show where you drink with all these amazing people. If you guys don't know, you got to watch the podcast. So who's been your favorite?
That's a very easy question for me to answer. My favorite person to have a drink with that's been on my podcast has been my wife. Yeah. So my wife is. And she's not here, so, you know. Jenna from the USO is calling me.
Is that your phone?
Yeah, that's my phone, yeah. I found it. Trying to log in now.
Who is the second favorite person to drink with if you had on your podcast?
All right, let me think about this. Favorite person to drink with on the show. E40 was up there. E40's become my buddy. Is it coming in? All right, we've had 196 votes. How is that possible? And nobody voted for Jack Daniels, so that's a shocker. My favorite person to have drank with, it comes down to me. It comes down to the people who show up for a tasting, who are really knowledgeable, who really want to learn about bourbon and are not there just kind of like promoting or something. And Jizmac is up there. You are up there, my friend. But half the time, I'm afraid you're going to eat me, so I got some high anxiety around you.
You're going to survive tonight, I'm sure.
Thank you. But I would say it's probably between Charles Woodson, the Hall of Famer from the Raiders and Packers, and Ian Somerhalder, the Vampire Diaries actor. And I've done stuff with both of them, but both of them are very great tasters. Yes, sir.
Do you taste rum or other spirits?
Do I taste rum? Wow.
Is the process that you undertake to taste these other spirits, is it the same way you would taste bourbon?
No, it's different, for me anyway. But I would, if you'd like to go check out a fine book written that came out in 2016 called Rum Curious. I've been a rum head for a long time. I had a book come out in 2016. I wrote a book about mead, which nobody read, by the way. I do all kinds of stuff. There's only one spirit that I will not taste unless I have to, but it's vodka. Yeah. Anybody know my tagline for vodka?
Vodka sucks.
Vodka sucks. But yeah, a lot of the spirits are made differently. Like, for example, Scotch has coloring added to it. And so I don't put as much emphasis into the color of analyzing it as I do with that. With rum, a lot of rums will have sugar added to it. And so I will actually do like a little test with it just to see if it's had, how much sugar it's had to it. So I do go in differently than with bourbon. Yeah. So we get another question over here. The votes are coming in, and this is, was it Soul Asylum with the Runaway Train song? This is a runaway train. Yeah, this is a whooping of a tasting.
So you're in the nation's capital.
Yep.
Is it time for legislation to outlaw the other bourbon and other things category? So your sherry, cask, your.
Let me pull up my soapbox here. So what he's talking about here, he's talking about a category called barrel finishes, right? Is that what you're going into? Yep. So barrel finishes are when you take the bourbon and you put it in another barrel to add different flavoring to it. It's called a finish. These did not exist until 1999 when someone experimented with it. The flavors are great, but by law, bourbon must be just new charred oak. So once it's out of the barrel, it is no longer bourbon if you put it in something else. But our government created a category called distilled spirit specialty that will allow you to do anything. I love the flavor of these things. I love the flavor of this group of barrel finishes that's going into this distilled spirit specialty category. But it opens up a vulnerability for bourbon, because a lot of, if you have bourbon on the front of the label, it allows for a misunderstanding of what bourbon is. In fact, I believe that those items should just say whiskey on there and have a description on the back. I know I'm in the minority of that opinion. I'm also an old school kind of mentality when it comes to bourbon. I also like running the football in the NFL. So I mean, I'm just very much an old curmudgeon when it comes to thinking of how things should be done. But there is some legislation, there's some things that are in practice and in working to try and get that stuff up to code, and so it's not as vulnerable for bourbon. But great question, thank you. Yes, sir. What's bonded? So bonded, thank you for the question. So bonded is a term that goes back to 1897. When you see bottle to bond on there, it goes back to that act, that Grover Cleveland sign that I talked about earlier. It basically means that the bourbon has to be at least 4 years old, distilled at one distillery in one distilling season, and bottled at 100 proof. It's basically, it was our country's very first consumer protection legislation act to protect us from bad whiskey. Up until that point, they were adding things like prune juice and tobacco spit and rattlesnake heads to bourbon. And when people would prescribe bourbon, which by the way, they prescribed a lot of bourbon back in the day, it was very good for you to drink bourbon in the 1800s because it would save you from a lot of diseases. And the doctors would prescribe things to people, and the people would still be sick or die. And so they're like, well, we got to get better bourbon. And so they enacted that law. That would be one of the first of many laws that were on the books to protect the quality of bourbon for prescription purposes. Everything they were all stored in bonded warehouses, but they were not bottled in bond. So bottled in bond is a very specific definition, but they are all aged in a bonded warehouse, which basically means they're paying taxes on that warehouse and the liquor that's in them. So everything today, if it's on a shelf in the United States of America, it should be safe. Dominican Republic, places like that, a bit of a greater risk. Question over here?
Hey, what was your latest strongly held bourbon opinion that you changed your mind on?
My latest... Well, hold on, man. I gotta think about this for a second. The question was, and I'm just saying it out loud so I can think about it. What's a strongly held bourbon opinion that I have changed my mind on? I would say I've been doing this for a long time, that I've tasted pretty much every batch of craft distillers, their first batches when they come out, and then taste them again. I remember tasting Woodinvilles when their very first batches when I was in Washington, and I was like, I have no idea how these people are going to stay in business. And like, this is awful. And just a couple of years ago, one of their products nearly beat Pappy Van Winkle in a blind tasting with me. And now Woodinville is just one of those products that it's really out there. And it just goes to show you that the craft distilling movement is about people and learning and getting better. It's the human element. And so I think that's probably the best example that I can give, is that, and you should never ever judge a distillery by one batch. And that's probably a lesson that I learned early on. How are we doing on time? We good? 7:35. So, okay, I'm not bad. A little bit over, not bad.
One more?
Yeah, we can do a couple more before we show the results.
Yeah, hi Fred. I'm from Kentucky, and you see the plethora of rick houses being built and the increase in production.
Right.
Do you see a risk of oversupply?
I think the greatest risk of a saturation is of brands. You go into a liquor store, or if you own a liquor store, they're pitched all the time about a new brand coming out. There's way too many brands on the shelf. And then by the way, like, you've got a brand like Weller says, well, we're gonna have a Weller at every dadgum proof point we could possibly have, and charge you double, you know. So that's the thing, is like everyone's trying to own the shelf space of a liquor store, and some distillers are really good at hype. They're so good at it, and it drives all of us crazy. But I think that there's too many labels on the shelf. And it's getting worse. And every 5 minutes there's a celebrity coming out with one, you know. Every 5 minutes. You know. All right, we got a question back here. Red sweater. Which, by the way, it's a very nice holiday-looking sweater. I dig that. I think there's some holiday stuff about to go on in here. Did I see that Hallmark is filming a Christmas movie in here? Anyone want to comment on that? Yeah? Is that happening? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there if anyone wants to say yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so besides Ragnarok Rye, do you have a brand that you always go to when you're at a bar that you always kind of hone in on?
Well, I used to. And then I made the mistake of being with a panel that selected the best bourbon and then best whiskey at San Francisco World Spirits Competition. And that was Henry McKenna. Henry McKenna 10-year-old used to be my jam. It used to be like our house pour, and now I can't buy it anymore because, you know, we picked it as that. And so I've learned to have several. My house pours right now are really dictated by Jacqueline, my wife, because she's, you know, I'm more, you know, when we have a pour together, we like to have the same one. And right now we are really in love with the Huber's Double Oak. So I buy a lot of stuff. I basically buy all the stuff we have at home. I just bought 6 cases of Huber's Double Oak. That's how much we go through it and how much we love it. So, yeah.
Don't tell anybody that.
I shouldn't have said that. Yeah. All right, over here. No, the question is there enough talent to go around to support all these brands? No, there is not. So if you want to get in the game, and I would say a lot of people want to get in the marketing and the branding side of it. Look, I appreciate if that's your talent, if that's what you do, but that side of the business is good. We need distillers. We need people who understand science. We need people in the warehouses who know, and workers, just workers. And by the way, there's a long line to roll barrels at these places. Those are good paying jobs. But we're not getting there's a lot of effort to grow food chemists and distillers and things like that. But that's what we need. The marketers and stuff, you can be a marketer from anywhere and come in and do pretty well. But we do need more talent in the distilling game.
Okay,
Yeah.
Fred, have you ever had to go on public record and say what was the worst bourbon you ever tasted? And are you willing to do it tonight?
Oh, what's the worst bourbon I've ever tasted? How long you got? So, in the contemporary sense, the worst bourbon I ever tasted was OZ Tyler. OZ Tyler was a rapid aging product. They took it off the market. But I think when I did a live tasting, I said it smelled like a dead cat. I don't remember what I said it tasted like, but the dead cat's what I remember mostly. But the worst bourbon I've tasted all time. You remember when I said bourbon cannot be made anywhere else but the United States, and that was because of the 1964 Declaration? Well, prior to that, they made bourbon in Mexico, and Mexico is filled with really great distillers. But prior to Prohibition, these distillers in Kentucky moved their stills to Juarez, Mexico, and started making Mexican bourbon. And I I'm fascinated with that story and the Dowling family, and so I tracked down a few bottles and I tasted it, and it tasted like Brut cologne. It was awful, absolutely awful. Well, are we ready to find out what we've been tasting? Do we have the bottles? Bring the bottles up. Are they up here? They're not up here yet. They're coming on up. So, I will tell what we're going to do here. I'm going to tell you what won, and then I'm going to show you what the bottles were, and then I'll tell you which one was what glass. So, coming in, this was a butt whooping now. This was a whooping. Coming in with 0.09% of the vote, which I think might be 2 people. Glass E. Glass E. Who voted for Glass E? There's our... Okay. All right, well, just so you know, you voted for last place. All right, coming in at 5.78% of the vote, Glass B. Who voted for Glass B? Okay. You would be what we would say right now, didn't make the playoffs. Coming in at second place, by the way. Oh, no. Third place with 7.43% of the vote. Glass A. Glass A. Coming in at second with a whopping 11.15% of the vote. Glass C. Glass C. And your champion with 66.11% of the vote out of nearly 200 votes. 66.11%. Glass D. Glass D is your champion. So now I'm going to show you what you were tasting. All right, so Glass D was your winner. I got to pull up what was what. Just got that here. Holy cow. This, folks, ladies and gentlemen, this is an enormous upset. This is an enormous upset. Glass A, allocated, hard to come by, around $200 a bottle. Calumet 16-year-old. Calumet 16-year-old. 106 proof. 106 proof. That. Glass A. Glass B, coming in from Colorado, $291. $291, batch E. $291, batch E. This is finished. This is finished with Aspen staves. This is Colorado whiskey finished with Aspen staves. How much a bottle? This particular batch, I think, is about 130. I think this is about 130. The proof on this, my bad. I'll tell you the proof on the next one. The proof on this is 129.9. 129.9. In the event that you cut your hand, this could help you out there. All right, Glass C. Glass C a little up-and-coming brand called 4-Gate. This is 4-Gate Split Stave, 116.9 proof. This is a barrel finish with a split stave. So they have like a split stave kind of, like a Maker's 46 kind of process. 4-Gate, 116.9 proof. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey finished in New American White Oak Toasted and Charred Casks. Split stave by Kelvin. 116.9 proof, 4-Gate. Kind of like the Picard episode that was 4 lights, but instead it's 4 gates. What does it cost? I think this is a $90 bottle. By the way, the one that you all picked as your winner is actually the cheapest in the group. Or shall I say, less expensive. I'm not going to go to the champion, which is Glass D, just yet. Going to go to Glass E, which is Sealbox. Sealbox is Glass E. This is a straight bourbon whiskey finished in triple sec liqueur and a sparkling wine barrels, coming in at 118 proof. 118 proof. This is a new brand that is just hitting the shelves. It is started by a friend of mine. And remember when I said I wanted something weird? This was the weird. And let's see, what was the vote on this? So, yeah, that vote, we won't talk about that vote. Is that all right? Okay. So, what was the question? No, it's finished, like they take the whiskey and then they put it in those additional barrels. Yeah. And the price point on this? D, what's the price point on this? $110. Your Glassy. And your champion of today's exhibition tasting. You are not going to believe this because you can walk in your local liquor store. You can't go in the local liquor store and find those. But you can find this in just about every liquor store in the country. It may be a little harder to come by in some parts of the country, but I know it's pretty available right here in Washington, D.C. Good old-fashioned Michter's US1. Michter's US1. Not only did it win, it won like 66% of the vote. I believe we call that a landslide in the business. This you can find in pretty much most of the stores. So, Glass D is your champion. Oh, my bad, the proof. My bad. The proof is, I was going to say it's 90, but I was going by memory, but it's 91.4 proof. 91.4 proof.
140 on the steel box.
Ah. Okay, so your champion was a $40 bourbon, which beat a $200 bourbon. A very good craft distillery made bourbon, but $140, an $80, and then the seal box is $140. So it just goes to show you do not have to spend a lot of money. And by the way, was this my opinion up here? No, this was y'all's. This was your opinion of what you liked. So, what was my favorite? Well, y'all decided, so this is your thing. You want me to go back in and taste? All right, I'll pour some here and give you my thoughts. I can pour this, yeah? Yes, you can. It's okay. All right, thank you.
Hey, Fred, we got the whole thing here. Oh, yeah.
got a fresh one? Oh, great. All right, no, I'll just... We had a party foul. Can I just come sit down? This is A. That's B, as in Bravo. This is D. C, as in Charlie. Charlie. Which one's this? D for what? All right, so I'll just go through these real quick. Y'all really want me to taste these and pick my own instead of just teaching you? All right. I mean, I think this is a first, actually. All right, I'm going to glass A. Well, if proof would have had an inkling of what people picked here, then what won wouldn't have won. Okay. I don't know. I think this is a pretty grizzled group of bourbon drinkers. Which one did you pick? You picked Michter's. A's mighty good. A's mighty good. I'm basically making this decision on flavor. Come on in, y'all. Get a seat. Come on in. We do have some folks that just got in. We want them to have a good time. Oh, that's glass E. This is C. Yeah, C would have been eliminated for me. Well, I like C. The bitterness was just a little too sharp for me. I love B. I love how B feels in my tongue. It's very viscous. The viscosity of B is really quite powerful for me. And it's got like a sugarcane note I really like. I got to wrap this up now. Yeah, D's right there in the thick of it. I think if you were to pull me aside, make me pick, it's between A, E, and D. They're about to pull me off the stage. I'd probably go with A. It's between A and D. But this isn't my tasting. This was your tasting. And today, my whole point about doing this, I wanted a program where I could educate people and people can get involved. And most importantly, I want people to experience what it's like to be a professional taster, and at the same time, find your own palate. And I realize we're in a time right now. There's a lot of political discourse. There is a lot of people who are at each other's throats all the time. For God's sakes, you all live in D.C., you know better than anybody. You see the protests all the time. But I firmly believe that if we could all just sit down and have a drink together, the world would be a better place. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you to the USO. We have got some cool stuff coming up now, but that concludes our portion of the tasting.